Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Harrogate series. Harrogate is a large borough, one of the 11 districts of North Yorkshire. It's got 139 civil parishes. Which one are we in this episode? Welcome back to Harrogate, everybody. It's still a glorious day out here, and it has been for the past 5 episodes. I'm on number 6 now today, and it feels great to be here. I think you're going to like this place. This is a simple enough walk around. There's no sort of extraterrestrial bits with this, apart from sort of a little hamlet called Roden, which I should have recorded on the way in, but I was a million miles away enjoying the scenery, and I forgot to press record, so that's gonna have to fall by the wayside, I'm afraid. But I think this one has probably got enough in it for you to make up for it, I suppose. Welcome to the parish of Hampsthwaite. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like, and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Okay, here comes my favourite village so far in Harrogate. Yes, I know there's plenty more to go, but hey, for now, the honour rests with the lovely Hampsthwaite. Not the easiest of names to say or even spell, Hampsthwaite's moniker is Old Norse. It has 2 meanings, neither of which has ever been conclusively proven. One theory suggests it literally means Hamal's clearing, whilst the other says it means land bordering on a river liable to flooding. That river is the Nidd, which forms the northern parish boundary with Clint cum Hamlets. Here we are 5 miles northwest of Harrogate. The centre of the village is designated as a conservation area, but Hampsthwaite lies just outside the Nidderdale area of outstanding natural beauty. That said, the north and west of the village is recognised as an area of great landscape value instead. To be honest with you though, even though the scenery is nice and all, it's Hampsthwaite's history and heritage that make this place so great. For example, this is the village where Joshua Tetley, the founder of Tetleys Brewery in Leeds, is buried. It's also where Amy Woodforde Findern lies, and her greatest work was a well-known song. There's a whole host of other notable people connected to Hampsthwaite, a plethora of wonderful old buildings, and at the centre of it all is the annual feast and show, which dates back to 1304. Let's get walking and learn about it. We start on the high street outside a building which began its life in 1890 as a purpose-built reading room. It's still a communal building today. On its wall is the parish notice board. Let's get this job out of the way early. Hampsthwaite is visited and Harrogate is down to 132. This building was the village room. It was erected by Letitia Wright, the daughter of Sir Oswald Mosley, 2nd Baronet Ancoats. The high street runs all the way into the centre of the village and ends at a central green. It's mostly residential on both sides. Although this is the oldest part of the village, there are some modern houses here and there, like this one for example on the left. Hampsthwaite's one and only shop is located on the corner of Hollins Lane. This is Sophie's Corner Shop, remember that name? The Joiners Arms is the only pub here. In the 1700s there were 3, but the Bay Horse Inn and the Lamb Inn have now closed. This is a good pub for food. One review on this board says it's a hidden gem of Harrogate. Well, it's not hidden anymore. If you like cars, Harrogate Bespoke Minis might be the place for you. This had some classics on display, and this place was awesome. After that, the high street becomes more residential until we come to another property run by that lass again, Sophie. This time it's a coffee shop, delicatessen and pizzeria. It's a B&B as well, because above the shop there are 2 guest rooms. Well, there's no doubt Sophie definitely runs this place. There's a few things with her name on. We've reached the phone box here. Now this one is empty. There's no phone in there, there's no defib machine, there's no book exchange. It's just an empty shell. You can find this virtually next door to the delicatessen. And if you look at the other way, you'll see the village green. And on the green there's a pump. Let's head towards that. This is one of 3 pumps which once supplied the village with water. Piped water would come to Hampsthwaite in the 1930s. Greenside House nearby was the birthplace and childhood home of Laura Sobey Veal, the first ever Yorkshire woman to become a doctor. Opposite the green is the school. This originated as a national school in 1861 and it was endowed by Bilton Josephus Wilson. Around the corner onto Elton Lane, here's a well-known local business, Bowers Funeral Directors. Its founder, Roger Bowers, died late last year. There's not much on Elton Lane beyond that. The road runs off into the countryside towards Clapham Green, so it's time to turn around. Our next job is to follow a short footpath due north that runs between Elton Lane and the churchyard of St Thomas a Beckett. The footpath crosses a bumpy field. Even though there's no record of any earthworks here, I reckon that's what these are. And so to the churchyard, in which lies Joshua Tetley, the man who founded Tetleys Brewery in Hunslet, Leeds in 1822. Okay, so now we have reached the churchyard after walking across that footpath, and we've hopped over a little stone stile, and here we are. You can see the churchyard in front of us. The church is hiding behind those trees. Let's go and check it out. The tower of St Thomas a Becket's church is the oldest structure in the village. The rest of the church is early 20th century. It's a Grade 2 listed building, and whilst the exterior is pretty, it's what's on the inside that's worth coming to see more. Luckily for us, we can go in. The church is open daily, usually between the hours of 9 AM and 5 PM or dusk, whichever comes first. The first known church to be built here was completed in 1180, constructed by Hugh de Morville, the constable of Knaresborough Castle. After their victory at the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314, the Scots then invaded the Dales and totally destroyed that early church. It was then rebuilt in the 14th and 15th centuries. The only surviving thing from those times is the Jacobean oak pulpit. On the wall is a memorial to William Pullion of Burstwith, but if it's memorials you want, look no further than Amy Woodforde Findern. This magnificent marble recumbent figure is of the lady herself. Her grave is in the churchyard, and there's more on her coming shortly. Back outside, look what I found on the lit gate, a mouse. Yes, once again, we found the work of Mousy Thompson. And the Hampsthwaite Memorial Cross is out here too. This one has 22 names in total, 16 from World War I and 6 from World War II. Okay, from the church you then hit this road here, which is a long stone cottage lined street, and this takes you down back into the village centre. The next thing we are heading for is the playing field, the sports area. Let's see if we can find that and talk about that a little bit. So who was Amy Woodforde Findern? The answer is a composer. Born Amelia Roe Ward in Chile in 1860, her early work was published under the name Amy Ward, and although promising, it was only received tepidly. At the age of 34, Amy married Brigade Surgeon Woodforde Findern, who served during the Second Afghan War and Third Burmese War with the Bengal establishment of the Indian Medical Service. They lived in India for several years, and it was whilst there that Amy would write her two most well-known pieces, The Lover in Damascus and Kashmiri Song. The latter was based on the Four Indian Love Lyrics poem by Lawrence Hope. It quickly became a drawing room standard and remained popular until the beginning of World War II. Her family lived in Hampsthwaite, and that's why her grave is among those found in the churchyard. In commemoration of Amy Woodforde Findern, a music festival is held here in Hampsthwaite at the church annually. Legend has it, she died whilst writing at a piano in 1919. The former Lamb Inn pub is one of the houses along the wholly residential Church Lane, which brings us back to the village green. There's a track up the side of the school to follow next, which takes us past this old mounting block, which is a listed building. The track passes Hampsthwaite Cricket Club. Like neighbouring Killinghall, they play in the Nidderdale Cricket League. Next, we cross the voluntarily built Feast Bridge, which leads to the Feast Field, essentially a playing field and a playground. Every year, this is where the Hampsthwaite Feast takes place. It dates back to 1304 after a charter was granted to the village by Edward I. The charter also granted an annual market too. Once through the field, you're then on Hollins Close, and in a few short steps, you're on Hollins Lane. You're looking here at Dawson Court, which stands on the site of the Dale Hall, once the village's only communal gathering space. Okay, so we've reached a bus stop, and as you can see, Hampsthwaite is served by the number 24 into Harrogate. There's the timetable right there. We're going to continue down this road. It bends to the right in a moment, and it loops around a housing estate and brings us back to this road, and then we'll be heading the other way. This last section is mainly about the Brookfield housing estate, which is the largest residential area of all in Hampsthwaite. It was built in two phases, the first in the 1970s by B&D Simpson Brothers and the remainder in the early 80s by C.E. Cowan. As a result, there are two distinctly different building styles, which may be seen as one progresses along Brookfield Crescent. The estate is full of wide streets and plenty of green spaces, some of which have some pretty looking trees here and there. The Cowan houses are modular and built using a Canadian/Scandinavian timber frame construction method. They were then skinned with stone-faced concrete blocks known as bradstone. That means the houses are very energy efficient. Once through the estate, a short footpath links us back to Hollins Lane, where there are three final landmarks left to visit. First, the Methodist Church. Built in 1904, it replaced a former chapel whose site is now occupied by numbers 10 and 12 Hollins Lane. Then there's a little shelter which stands on the site of the former village pinfold, and this is right next to the Memorial Hall. Acting as a war memorial, this was built in 1967 to replace an ex-Canadian camp hut, which burnt down just 1 year prior. And here we are at the corner shop. We've completed the route around Hampsthwaite, so all I've got to do now is walk back to the car, which is literally parked just a couple of hundred yards that way, and I'm done. Fantastic. What a great village. I've loved this one from start to finish. It's just got that village feel that I like about it. It's really, really nice, and the people are friendly as well. One last job, that's to drive over the extremely narrow Hampsthwaite Bridge, which spans the River Nidd towards our next village. The next one, by the way, includes the site of Hampsthwaite's former railway station, which was never actually in Hampsthwaite. More on that and plenty more when we return to Harrogate next time. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.